things about trading Forex is that you don't actually know exactly which trade is going to be a crazy winner or just another loss.
What's up, everybody? We are currently live with
the weekly
trade back down to orthodox. That price is going to be bullish.
Point sort of chasing the market. I was more than happy to stay flat.
Hello everyone.
What the kangaroos help?
Always recommend trading on the 5 minute.
Some of these exotic pairs in pretty steady uptrend, making these higher highs and higher.
Mostly trend following.
The stimulus in a certain way.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to everybody tuning in. Welcome to another market analysis video for this Friday. And today, if you guys have been on my session before, you know that I generally don't open any new positions on Friday, but I definitely like to share some of the stuff I've been looking at for this week and some of the pairs I'm even looking at going into next week as well. All right, so we can jump right into it, starting with AUD CAD. This was actually a trade that I took, I believe, last week, and I've just been holding it for the time being. But what I do like to do is come out to these higher time frames and get, again, a bird's eye view of the market. All right, so we can see exactly what's been happening on some of these higher time frames. Zooming out to the weekly time frame on AUD CAD, you clearly see a steady downtrend, right? So it seems as though we're making a steady move to the downside. And whatever trend I see on the higher time frame, that dictates my bias as to the type of opportunity I'm looking for in the market. So in this case, I was interested in sells. If we come to the daily, let me actually zoom out one time frame up. If we come to the daily, coupled with that downtrend that we saw off of the weekly time frame, the shorter time frames are also showing that trend as well. So if we take this sliver of price, you see we're in a steady downtrend, even in the most recent of times. All right. Now, if we zoom in and start to identify some key levels, you can see this level of support turned resistance that I identified off the daily time frame. All right. I saw that price was making its way back to retest this level. And upon this nice wick formation, I saw that we were respecting that level fairly well. It also falls in line beautifully with this order block region that we've tested and rejected as well. So if I kind of just put a horizontal box. This was a trade I would say I entered in a little bit late, but I was still happy with the risk to reward ratio. I was comfortable with, with that scenario, whether it be a loss or a win. And you can see, thankfully, it's been playing out in my favor for the time being. I already have my stop loss at entry just to keep it risk-free, and it's just a matter of seeing, how it's going to run its course for the rest of its cycle. But a nice trade. Just gonna hold that and see what happens. I like the price action and what is suggesting what I think will be a further downside movement. All right. Let's come over to NZD-CHF. NZD-CHF off of the weekly time frame. All right. So NZD-CHF, again, you see a clear downtrend. Lower lows, lower highs. We zoom in on price. This is actually something I was keeping an eye on, but I haven't got involved in just yet. But I am gearing towards having a bearish bias, right? You can see this steady downtrend even off the daily time frame, right? We saw the dominant trend on the weekly time frame being bearish as well. And look at how we spiked into this order block region beautifully. And for the past 2 days, we've been making movement towards the downside. All right, so definitely kind of solidified my bearish bias, just what I'm seeing off of these higher time frames. If we come to the 4-hour, let's actually come and drop down a time frame. In terms of a potential opportunity for execution, I would like to see if we can come and retest this level of support turned resistance here, right? So continuing with the downtrend, but if we can get some sort of retracement, I would like to see that as a potential kind of region to execute a position. All right, coming over to USD Huff. All right, so now we're getting into some of these exotic pairs. Let me come back to the weekly time frame. All right, weekly time frame clearly shows a steady move to the upside, higher highs, higher lows. Kind of mapped out this what I would consider a bullish flag. So we're making a steady channel to the downside. But given the fact that we have a dominant uptrend on the weekly time frame, I am anticipating eventually some sort of breakout back to the upside, and then a continuation of this upside movement. But for the time being, I actually got involved with a sell opportunity last night just because I don't think we're done kind of pinballing back and forth in this bullish flag. All right, so if I come down to the daily time frame, let's drop down one more time frame. I kind of noticed that we were respecting this order block region nicely, kind of a spike slightly above it, and then we started dropping down. Again, I would say this is a trade I kind of caught a little late, but I was still liking the risk to reward ratio, and it still falls in line with my overall criteria. So about 30 pips or so in profit. I'm just going to hold this for throughout the weekend and see how this trade plays out going into next week. But again, just as a recap, I do anticipate a break out of this bullish flag to the upside eventually, but for the time being, price action is suggesting that we may want to pinball back and forth in this channel for a little longer before that potential breakout, and that's what I'm looking to capitalize off of. Let's see. So let's come to USD ZAR. This is another one of those exotic pairs that I do like trading. Again, coming to the weekly time frame, what you'll see is a lot of these exotic pairs are showing an overall dominant trend of being to the upside, right? Higher highs, higher lows. I've really been on standby with this trade or with this pair for the time being, because although we have that dominant trend to the upside that we see off the weekly, you can see that, you know, on the daily, at least in the most recent of times, the trend has been to the downside. All right. So I am anticipating that we'll continue the dominant trend that we saw off the weekly, but I would really like to see some sort of break off a break of resistance off the daily time frame, right? This daily resistance level that I have highlighted in yellow, and that would suggest to me that okay, we're having a shift in momentum to the upside, even on some of these smaller time frames, like the daily, relatively. All right, so really looking for some sort of scenario like this, where we're no longer making lower lows and lower highs in the market. We have a shift in momentum to the upside, coupled with a break of this resistance. We come back to retest this level. And depending on price, how price action behaves here, I may be interested in a potential buy opportunity back to the upside. All right. So just a matter of being patient and seeing how price action is going to develop in this market. All right. Let's get into some of the commodities. All right. So been looking at oil, US oil. US oil is just kind of at a standstill, in my opinion. We're kind of just at a halt at this level of resistance. And again, similar to USD ZAR, I'm really just waiting for some major break off of these higher time frames. All right, so if oil can break above this level here, I'd be interested in a buy opportunity, right? So some break and bounce scenario. All right. If we zoom in on price and reveal a little bit more price action, there's also the possibility that oil wants to continue on this downtrend, right? So quickly coming back to the weekly time frame, you can see the dominant trend is to the downside. And at least for the time being, we have been respecting that level of resistance, but I need more definitive price action to confirm, hey, we want to continue moving to the downside, maybe come back and make a lower low. All right. So another key level of interest is this one right here. Can we break and get some sort of retest uh, of this level to add some extra confluence or confidence that we want to make a move to the downside? All right. So U.S. oil kind of sitting on the sidelines, waiting for a major break off of the weekly or the daily. All right, I think it was maybe about 2 weeks ago that I covered silver, where again, I'm really looking for some major break out of this box of consolidation that we keep kind of pinballing back and forth between. All right. So again, you see that we made our way back down to kind of the supportive region of this consolidation box, but we still continue to, obey lie within the boundaries of this, and really just waiting for some major breakout to kind of help solidify my bias as to where the market might be headed next. All right. So those were the main pairs that I kind of had my eyes out for this week, and some of the stuff I was looking at going into next week. All right. So what I'll do now is take any pairs that I see dropped in the chat. So if anybody is interested in looking at a pair together, definitely go ahead and drop that down below, and we can take a look. All right, so I see gold has been dropped in the chat. So let's go ahead and switch over to gold. All right. So gold, steady uptrend, right? Higher highs, higher lows. We came and fiddled around with this level of resistance turn support. If we just hone in on this weekly candle, it seems as though we dipped right just below this level of resistance turn support, but it seems like we're gonna kind of form a wick rejection of that level. Actually, this is being the monthly candlestick. So actually, excuse me, there's some time before this candle completes its closure. All right, but let's come to the weekly. Again, you see For the majority of this week, we've been dipping to the downside, but we recovered a lot of that lost ground. And it seems as though we'll probably end this week with a strong wick rejection of the downside. All right. And given that we're already in a dominant uptrend, chances are this may be the start of some further upside movement for gold. All right. I see that we dipped, if we come to the daily, we dipped into this level of support. We've been respecting it fairly well. For me, honestly, for gold right now, although my bias is to the upside, I would really like to see some break of these levels here. All right. Because we've been doing a lot of back and forth motion, and I need a clear breakout, whether it be to the upside or the downside, to confirm where further movement might the direction of further movement. All right. So not identical to silver, but a similar outlook in that I need a major breakout of some level to feel comfortable entering in any opportunity here. All right, so let's take a look at GBP USD. All right, GBP USD off the weekly time frame, you see a steady downtrend. You see that we have come into this level of resistance. For the time being, we've been respecting that level very well. Now, if we come to the daily, again, to me, it seems like we're a little indecisive, although we are respecting that level of resistance. And the dominant trend off the weekly that we do see is to the downside. My bias is leaning towards further movement to the downside, but I need to see some break of this level, right? So some scenario where we have a clear break of a key level off of the daily time frame. I'm looking for some type of scenario like this, all right? Break and bounce. Again, I don't believe I mentioned yet on this session, but I am a swing trader. Okay, so I'm looking for more so longer term moves in the market, things that I may be holding for days upon weeks. And that's why you see that I'm operating off of the weekly and the daily to dictate my bias. And then I come down to, the 4 hour, 1 hour to look for areas of entry. All right, but definitely leaning more towards a bearish bias here on GBP USD. Again, another one of those pairs that kind of just sitting on the sidelines waiting for more price action to develop. All right. All right, so a little bit of a shorter session today. But again, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I hope you guys got some value out of this. Again, thank you to the A1 Trading team for having me on, and I will see you guys next week. All right, peace.
Hey guys, thanks for watching today's show. I hope you enjoyed it. And before you go, make sure to check out our guest today and also subscribe to the A1 Trading YouTube channel if you have not already. Risk Calculator is a risk management tool built specifically for MetaTrader 4 and MetaTrader 5 to help you position size properly. Their easy to use software will allow you to enter and exit positions with lot sizes that are calculated for you, suited to your risk management settings that you allow for the tool. This is a big thing because a lot of us struggle with over leveraging or accidentally taking a position size too big, and Risk Calculator is there to help. Like I said, with the click of a few buttons, you're able to set your trade and the lot size will automatically be calculated for you so that it suits your risk management plan. In addition to actually setting your trades with the proper lot size, it also allows you to manage your trades as they're going along. Things like trailing stops, moving stops to break even, or even partial take profits are all tools or features available with the risk calculator functions that are available on MetaTrader 4 and MetaTrader 5. If you're interested in checking out Risk Calculator, there's a link down below in the description. And if you use that link, it does help to support what we do here on the channel, which is provide free trading content, again, by the thanks to the help of our sponsors. So thanks so much for watching today. Again, make sure to subscribe to us here on YouTube if you haven't already, and we'll see you back in the next one.